So yesterday, I went to my niece's wedding up this beautiful canyon. Freaking amazing. So cute. Dinus. And for whatever the fuck reason, I had this most amazing time. I had this kind of vibe kill moment happen to me on the way down. So there was a dude standing on the side of the S curve where is one of my favorite hikes. So I don't know, just kind of noticing that spot and going like, oh, that's my favorite hike or whatever. And then I see this dude and I was like trying to read his sign, like going, kind of slow down because it's an S. That's why it's called the S curve, and so you have to go slow through it. It forces you to slow down. And then I read his sign, and it's some blah 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 about Jesus. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, I don't understand why these Bible thumpers have to sit there and do that. Like, leave people alone. Let people come to you who want to come. Like the Mormons that walk around, trying to manipulate. I was like, what's the word? Bully, trick, etc. Manipulate people into their religion. And the reason why I think it's ridiculous is because, they'll say things like, don't you want to be with your kids in heaven? As though we're not going to be with our children when we pass and wherever in the world we end up being. Also assuming that we'd want to be wherever they're at. It's like, well, are you going to be there? Because I don't think I want to be there if you're there. Etc. But this isn't about the Mormons. It's just about who this fellow was, which is clearly not a Mormon because they don't hold up Jesus signs like that. They hold up Joseph Smith's crap. So it's not attractive. It doesn't make me want to go towards whatever they're offering. I'm very satisfied with my life, like extremely satisfied with my life. I very much am blessed. And my perspective brings me enormous amounts of joy. And the only way that they get people to come to them is by implying otherwise. So it doesn't work for me because I'm satisfied beyond belief. Like, I'm thriving through this life. So no, I don't want to join your weird organization where you believe like super weird shit and then I have to do all this bizarre behavior or hold myself back from activities and behaviors that are not negatively impacting my life, in which I enjoy and have no reason, according to, facts of reality, I have no reason to believe or feel that it's having any negative impact on my life. I have no guilt for partaking in such things. Meanwhile, they're partaking in things I know are harmful, including the point of my video, which is this dude, oh my Lord Jesus. I don't even remember what he said, but basically he just said like, fuck LGBT or whatever. Is that what it is? LGBT? Gay and lesbian, whatever. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, how is that even helpful? Like, there's 1% of people that fall into that category, first of all. And they're human beings that deserve love as well. And I don't understand why they need other people to accept them other than when people get violent, when they're being affectionate in public and so forth. Like, I don't care what, people don't even know my sexual preference or my love preference. I don't need approval from anyone as to whom I'm falling in love with, marrying, forming a family with, etc. But obviously it matters when people are getting violent, like this person was being. Like what he said was violent and threatening and unnecessary and not helpful. I want to just be gay now just to tell him to fuck off, even though I'm even not. You know? What the fuck do you think you're accomplishing by treating people that way? You think Christ approves of that behavior? That is not even remotely what he taught. You are a shame to the Christ teachings. Shame on you. You are demon-possessed, evil, hurting, obviously. And if I wasn't in so much shock and then, you know, just trying to get past this, I was driving and he was standing on the side of the road. I didn't think, and I wish I would have had a moment to think and say something that would have been productive in making this person aware of how destructive, mean, cruel, and not helpful. I mean, who's going to be inspired to not love who they love just because this dipshit kid, like early 20s max, his opinion, like, I don't give a fuck if you're 100. If you're that big of an asshole, I don't actually give a shit what your opinion is, right? And you're not going to tell other people who to love. Oh, so your version of the Bible and Christ inspires you to bully people out of loving who they want to love, so suddenly they're just supposed to like, oh, whoa, now I'm inspired to not love who I love. No, it doesn't work that way. And I was like kind of dumbfounded, like, what the fuck is he saying that to me for? Do I look like I'm, you know, gay or something? Not that I care. Think I'm whatever. I'm not. I very much love men. Adore and worship one in particular. But what the fuck? Well, then like a few minutes later, I realized it's because of this. Because of my beautiful, colorful rainbow array of colors. One of these items was inspired by my gay friend. And I didn't do it. I got this ribbon to put on these cute little boots I bought from him. He had suggested that was something that he wanted to do and was going to do with them. And I thought that's adorable. I'm going to do that. Not because I want to flaunt and or in support of gay LGBT rights, which I'm totally happy and fine with doing in my heart, mind, and soul. But I'm also frightened to do that, right? Because I will be violently attacked by these people if I do that. So in a way, I hesitate to display like things like a, you know, rainbow flag on my property of any variety. Because people are psychos, as this person was. I don't have these colorful things on my rearview mirror because of thinking about LGBT rights. It's the chakras. The colors are medicine. And I have many glasses of many colors for the same reason. Each chakra point, which is an energy system point in our being, because we are energy beings. It's not woo, it's science. You can think of it as circuit breakers or circuit boards in like in a house or building that manages the different areas of your house, the electricity. And when there's an overload, the circuit breaks, right? It trips. And you go and you reset it and find out what the problem is so that it doesn't trip anymore, right? So the colors are part of that mechanism within our beings, which is what actually dictates the quality of our life and how we're experiencing things. So when we're keeping things in a vibration of health and wellness, then we experience that. But when we are putting things in a vibration of what this dude was, hate and anger and so forth, then we experience that, right? So in my attempt to keep my vibration always on point, I surround myself with an enormous amount of colors. And so that's what these colors represent to me. I have no problem with it also representing LGBT rights. If people want to think that, I don't care. But the point is that's not my purpose and intention for having it in my vehicle. And I was abused by this person because they didn't bother to discern. They didn't bother to ask questions. They just bothered to make up stuff about me because I like colors. This is what a fool we make of ourselves when we just come to conclusions and assumptions instead of asking questions and trying to truly understand. So, this person gets really upset that a man might love a man and want to have sex with him, that a woman might love a woman and want to have sex with her, because when you're and the person that you're in love with is the person that you're going to want to be intimately, physically with. Or maybe you just want to wham bam people of your preference, that whom you find sexy, whatever, None of that's offensive to me. Penis, vagina, we do whatever we want. It's not a big deal to me. And it's none of my business. And any variety of thing that people choose to do with themselves, as long as it's consensual among adults, is none of my business or concern or care. But obviously this person has been brainwashed to be so conditional and so meddling into other people's lives that they have now become the psychopath abuser. And I do wish, it frightens me that, people are going to get injured because of this mentally ill person, right? And so I would almost wish to advise, please just keep it to yourselves, be private. Let's keep ourselves safe. But then I also get why people are tired of having to be secretive and not feel safe in the world being who they are. So I'm not telling anyone to anything. I personally would go to jail and die for standing up for people's freedom to be whatever sexual preference they want, whatever race, color, creed, etc. I'm tired of this shit too, right? But I also just want to live in peace and not live in danger, so it feels tempting to hide so that we can be safe from these crazy people. That guy is allowed freedom of speech, sure, but not when he's making people feel like they're in danger. What the hell? There's a fight going on right in front of me. Ay, Dios mío. Look at this shit. I should be recording this. I'm such a dumbass. They just chased this guy off of the scooter and they... Are you seeing this? Obviously he stole their thing. I don't know if you can see anything. I can't turn my camera around. This camera is pure shit. I don't know if you just saw that, but that's some violent ass shit right there. It just unfolded right in front of me. So that would be people that got their stuff stolen and were upset about it and then went after the person that stole their stuff. Totally has nothing to do with what I was talking about, other than it's still the same and similar vibration of violence, right? I don't know. I will display that level of violence to protect a life, not an object. Call the cops and let them deal with that shit. That was weird. Holy fuck. I don't know if I caught any of that. I'm a bad follower of instructions. I was told I need to record these things. When I go into shock, I don't know, I forget what I'm doing, and I don't think of the right thing to do. So obviously I'm not really good at that aspect of life. But what I do know is that this fellow that was doing this on the side of the road shouldn't be allowed to do that. That's not what freedom of speech was for. Freedom of speech is not created and intended for bullies that bully people. And that is abuse, what that man was doing on the side of the road. Psychological, mental, emotional abuse, and that should be immediately against the law right now. You punch my face, that hurts and that sucks. But when you're punching my aura and my vibrational essence, making me go from a person that was just super chill at this beautiful wedding, going down this beautiful canyon and enjoying this beautiful view, to now my vibration and energy of how I feel in my heart and soul gets tanked because of this horrible, mean person that has to yell out this terrible thing to me. Regardless of whether it had anything to do with me or not, it doesn't matter. It's upsetting to me that okay, this is what actually came to my mind. It's so weird because this violent thing that just happened in front of me, like, actually inspired this for further clearer thought. What actually upset me about it is my niece and her girlfriend had left the same wedding, I don't know, maybe 1 hour before, 30 minutes before. And I was like, oh my God, did he do that to them? Like, it upset me that they might have been abused like that and how frightening that must be for them. That boy is a bully. And it doesn't affect me directly because I'm not gay or lesbian or whatever. But I love humans that are, and I don't want them to be abused. And I don't want them to feel unsafe in any part of this planet. They should be allowed to love who they want to love and live their lives as they wish without feeling in danger, without being bullied and abused. And that man should not be allowed to stand on the corner like that, doing that. That's not what the intention of freedom of speech was for. So I don't know. I'm not going to pretend that I know every detail about that, but that was not okay with me, and I just hope and pray that they did not see that and that he did not say that to them. That's what I hope and pray. So I realized that I had not fully explained in my other video why there's such a problem with someone putting someone into distress with their outbursts and yelling out mean things, such as the fellow I described in the canyon. It's mean, it's bullying, it's abuse, it's frightening. It puts you in a fight and flight response, which releases cortisol in your body. And when you're constantly releasing cortisol and being put into fight and flight, for an example, then that damages your adrenals. Your adrenals being completely damaged and dead leads you into Addison's disease. Addison's disease kills you. And if you go the medical system route, you're put on cortisol pills for the rest of your life. This is a deadly action, a deadly disease. It also leads to things like depression and suicide, all terrible, horrible things. It leads to anger, fear, all things that feed and grow cancer, in fact, and all manner of diseases. It will cause things like kidney disease, bladder infections, chronic bladder infections, and kidney infections and disease, leading to kidney failure. It would and could and can and does lead to mental disorders of many varieties. This is not a joke, and it's not a matter of freedom of speech. You don't have the freedom to put people into dis-ease and distress and turmoil. You don't have the freedom to break people's hearts and put them into a constant state of fight and flight. These people do not have the right to do that. It is a crime against humanity, against peace and tranquility, against freedom to live the way you choose without being bullied about it. These people standing on the streets doing this are criminals and should be put, in my opinion, to death. They are causing people to slowly die of dis-ease and to even kill themselves. They are very dangerous criminals. And even though obviously this one was not a covert criminal because he blurted out these things, it is in a sense covert just because our society doesn't recognize that this bully saying and doing these things causes the list and array of things that I have expressed and explained and more. This should not be allowed to happen. And if I ran the world, bullies like him, what that triggered in me was very much identical to my ex-husband and how he hurt and triggered me constantly. Whom he is also a gayophobe, or whatever you call it, whom has a different approach of bullying people away from, or doing his attempt of bullying people away from being gay and so forth. But it's the same thing. He's even a worse criminal because he's even more covert about what he does than even this fellow blurting out and yelling out things. But they should both be tried in a court of law and found guilty of hurting people. Like I have potentially permanent PTSD and trauma in me that will be triggered to one degree or another throughout my life that he caused very specifically himself. Meaning I'm permanently damaged because of him, very specifically, and he's allowed to raise my children. No one that does that to any human being should be allowed to raise children. For example, they shouldn't certainly not be allowed to stand on the corner yelling at and bullying people. That is not what was intended by the freedom of speech. What I'm doing right now is what the intention of freedom of speech was. Us speaking against our government and our lawmakers, etc., is what was intended by giving us the right to freedom of speech. Not what this bully was doing, standing at the corner of this beautiful canyon, tormenting people and ruining their beautiful Sunday. And that is the end of what I want to say about this for now.